This is flip lesson number 6. And this will be a quick review of some of the flip lessons that we've had before. Number 6, quick review. First thing we talked about were quotation marks. We're still not forming those quite correctly, so let's look at with the dialogue tag at the front and at the end. If Spencer asks, comma, quote, notice that the quotation mark points toward what's being said. Where is my dog? Put the question mark inside the end quote and then the end punctuation. So this is our dialogue tag. Okay, the comma separates the tag from what's being said, so that comma is important. Quotation mark, this is a capital letter. You always begin the quote with a capital letter. The end punctuation goes inside the end quote, and there's you have formed a correct quotation. If I turn it around and I put the quote first, where is my dog? Question mark, unquote, asked, Spencer, and then you put a period. Okay, so here's the quote. You've got the quotation mark, capital letter on the first quote. It is a question mark. This is a question, so you want to make sure you put the question mark and then the end quote. Notice the A on asked is lowercase. If I had Spencer in front, it would be capitalized because that's his name, and then a period at the end. That's how you form a basic quotation mark. To add a quote with a citation, if I'm say I'm using something from whatever book, on page 7, comma, quote, and then I write whatever they said, unquote. I can also turn that around, so use something like, for example, comma, quote, whatever it is the person said, unquote, then I'm going to put in parentheses the page number and then the period after it. So this is for cited material, because you have to use quotation marks for that. Another another thing we talked about were complex sentences. So a complex sentence, you've got this independent and dependent clauses joined together. So if the dog meows, the cat will bark. Alright, so if the dog meows, the cat will bark. I have to have a comma here. This is my dependent clause. I have the if the dog is a subject, what's the dog doing? Meowing. This is my subordinating conjunction. Okay, if that comes at the beginning, there's a place in the sentence where I'm going to pause. If the dog meows, comma, the cat will bark. Okay, this is the subject and the verb phrase right here. Okay, so if in a complex sentence, if the subordinating conjunction comes first, then there will be a comma in the middle of the sentence. If the subordinating conjunction comes second, there will be no comma. For instance, the cat will meow because the dog barked. How about that? Okay, no comma right here. You do not want a comma before the because. That's pretty much it on the complex sentences. There may be more than one dependent clause in there, in which case you'll have to have more than one comma, but just read those sentences, and where you have a subordinating conjunction, figure that out, and then put the comma where necessary. Okay, other comma rules: compound sentence. The rabbit jumped and the fish ate jelly beans. Okay, so the rabbit jumped and the fish ate jelly beans. The rabbit is my subject, jumped is the verb. Here's the coordinating conjunction. And those are the fanboys. You've got for, and, nor, but, or, yet, so. Okay, so the fanboys words, so coordinating conjunction. So we have to look on the other side of that to see if we have another subject and verb. We do. We have the fish did what? Ate. All right, so that means we have to have a comma right there separating the two in front of the conjunction. Another example, the Razorbacks lost, but I'm sure we'll beat Auburn. Okay. First part, Razorbacks, subject, lost, verb, conjunction, I is the subject, am is the verb, it's a contraction, so you have to make sure you see that. Okay, so so there's your conjunction, two subjects and two verbs on either side of the conjunction, comma after lost. Okay. Serial comma, just make sure that you all have that. That's when you have more than three things in a row. So the llama ate grasshoppers, comma, apples, comma, and tennis shoes. All right, you have the subject, the verb, and then you have items, 1, 2, 3, and so you have to have a comma between each one. The other thing to remember on commas, real quickly, are introductory elements. So if I said, well, I am late. Okay, well is an introductory comment. You have to put a comma there in front, right after the well, in front of the rest of the sentence. Last night, I watched football. Same thing. Okay, last night what? So you have to have a comma there. That's an introductory element. Go back and watch the video if you're not sure about any of these things, and then go ahead and take the quiz.